Hi everyone and welcome back to another card making video where I will be playing with the monthly club kits by Spellbinders. So first I'm starting with the Die of the Month club kit, and this one gives you a shape that creates a mug, and you can turn this mug into different designs. So it can be a Santa Claus, it can be a little reindeer, or even a penguin. For my card today I'm going with the reindeer, but you can easily recreate the same design with the other shapes. Now for today I'm going to show you two different ways to play with your dies. So one of them is my favorite by far, which is die cutting everything out of white cardstock. This process is really fast. All you need to do is to just run a big cardstock, white cardstock with all the dies on top once through your die cutting machine, and you have all the shapes ready. Then all you have to do is to just play with your ink pads and your blending tools. Today I'm playing with sponge daubers, and I have a set here which I have marked for oxide inks only. Don't mix your blending tools between oxides and dye inks because they are going to be contaminated. So I have another set of these sponge daubers which is just for dye inks, for example. So my favorite thing to do is to just cut out everything out of white cardstock and then just play with my inks. For today I'm playing with oxides and I'm going to do some blending. I will bring even more colors than just one on each of those shapes. I find this technique is very relaxing. It gives me the opportunity to play and blend with my inks, which is something that I absolutely love. Plus you get to give some love to all your ink pads and all your blending tools. Don't be afraid to mix more than one colors. Doing all that shading and adding extra colors is what brings your images into life when you are using this technique. Now also notice that I like to work on a sticky mat. This keeps all the little shapes in place without moving around. Plus sometimes I even put my ink pad on top to hold it so it doesn't move while I'm inking my blending tools. So this process makes it super relaxing and easy, although I'm playing with tiny little pieces. Now with the magic of video editing, I do have all the pieces ready colored, and it's time to put together my reindeer mug. I like to work with white glue because I can slide the pieces one on top of the other until I'm happy with the placement. And there are also little areas that are marked. When you die cut, it also embosses, so you know exactly where you're supposed to stick everything. It comes together really quickly and easily, and it's going to look super cute no matter which one of the designs you're going for, either it is this one or the Santa or even the penguin. Now for this mug I'm going only with glue, so it's going to end up flat. Well, it's not super flat because it has layers of cardstock one on top of the other, but still it is flat. If you want, you can pop some of the elements by using foam squares at the back. I'm just going to use foam squares at the back of the whole mug when I pop it on top of my card base. By the way, both the die sets that I'm playing with today are from the club kits by Spellbinders. I don't know if you are subscribed in any of them. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to know if you are a subscriber in any of subscription kits, no matter which company or what kind of a subscription kit. I love to check them out. And since I do get both the large die of the month and the die of the month, I always post inspiration using those die sets. And now let's put together the card. I'm starting with a green cardstock, which I'm going to run through my die cutting machine using this embossing folder. This is an old embossing folder that I have probably from last year, but I absolutely love the stripes, and I am going to link it down below if it's still available. This is by Spellbinders, by the way. And then this is going to be my background. I am going, however, to do a little bit of ink blending. Now I'm doing that to darken up the edges, and at the same time, by having a blending look at the background, it kind of matches the blended look that I have on my focal point. So this way I kind of bring everything together. I'm going to ink up only the far edge of the cardstock. This is going to give the illusion of a light spot at the center. And then one thing that I absolutely love doing is white splattering. You don't have to do it. I'm going to show you another way on the second card if you want to avoid that mess. So I absolutely love splatters. I think that it brings something extra on any card. Plus here, since it is a Christmas card, it's going to give the illusion of snow. Now I am going to use foam tape at the back so that I can pop the reindeer mug on top of my base, my card base. And then I do have this cutout sentiment that says Merry and Bright. This is from an older die set again, probably from last year by Spellbinders. If it is still available, I am going to link it down below as well. And I just cut out everything from gold cardstock. I'm going to finish it off by adding a gem on top of my little snowflake up at the top. And then all I have to do is to just stick this whole panel on top of a card base that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you can see here some close-up photos where you can see the details better. And this is the last die of the month club kit. Absolutely love this one, so unique. It actually gives you two hands that they are holding a mug, and in the mug you can have a snowflake, you can have a snowman, or even a Santa. So I'm going for a winter card now, and I will be using a completely different technique than I did for the first card. So instead of using white cardstock and ink blending, I'm going for just cutting out everything from colored cardstock. Now you can see I went with browns. I even used a couple of shades of blue for the mittens, and I'm putting together my mug. For the coffee I went with copper glitter cardstock just to add a touch of shine on my card. And then you can see how easy it comes together. I'm not going to do any ink blending at all, and this look is going to be completely different than the first card. So when you are doing the ink blending, it gives that homemade look. It has some let's say imperfections on the coloring, and it's more artistic, let's say. And while when you are die cutting everything from colored cardstock and you just put one layer on top of the other, the look that you get is always clean and simple. So I'm really interested in learning what kind of a look you love the most. I tend to like the clean and simple one for its cleanness and how professional it always looks, but when I sit down to make a card, I kind of always end up doing the ink blending techniques, just because it gives me more joy to play with my inks and do the ink blending. I don't know what you think about that. I am adding the mug, and you can see how lovely it looks. Absolutely love the focal point, and definitely you can turn it into looking more like a Christmas card if you use greens for the sweater and maybe reds for the mittens, and inside, instead of a snowflake, you can have the snowman. There are many different variations from designers if you go to the Spellbinders website, where you can see lots and lots of inspiration. Now I'm going to add the sentiment, and for the sentiment I did cut it out from that cream cardstock, but also I made sure to cut out one more so that I can place it at the back, and that was from the same cardstock, the glitter cardstock that I cut out the coffee. So now I do have the smoke. I'm going to add some foam squares at the back, and I was thinking maybe I want the smoke going straight up, or I decided to place it on an angle. This way I end up having more of that design, and I love the look more, I think. So I'm just going to add an extra foam square up at the top to make sure that it stays put, and my panel is ready. I'm going to use my scissors to chop off the excess, and then what I am going to do is stick that on top of a card base which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now What I would normally do was do some ink splattering with white, but since this is such a clean and simple look, I don't want to mess it up. That's why I'm using my contour liner and I'm just going to add a few dots at the back. What I would love with the splattering is that these dots would fall on top of the mittens and the whole thing would look like snow. But anyway, I'm not going to touch my contour liner on the mittens. I absolutely love the look as it is. So here are some close-up photos on both the cards that I made for today. Links to everything I used can be found down below in the description. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope that you had fun and that you got inspired.